Coach April. Yet another episode. I am your host, April Hogan.
I'm your co-host, Cassandra Wolford.
And today, you guys, I know you guys are probably like, man, she's always saying she has a special guest. But I have known this guest for, my gosh, has it been like, why does it feel like it's been since, no, it's been more, since 2019.
Yes.
So 6 years. And the first time we met in person was, we had worked together online through a mutual client, but the first time we worked in person, we met in person, we were sleeping in the same room. So, and it's just been, phenomenal since then. So today we're going to talk about the secrets of a serial entrepreneur, something that many of you probably know a little bit to a lot about, right? Because we always have all these different ideas, but we have someone here with us who has done it. So, welcome, Miss Nadia.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you guys.
I'm excited too. So, I'm really candid on these things. Like sometimes, people try to make it like they got it all together. I'm not that person. So we have notes, right? Now, the goal is to not follow the notes, but just use it as a guide. One thing I love is that I know we're going to be able to have a very open conversation, and not so much here, but just be real, because we know each other too much not to. So, all right, so let's hop in. All right, so first of all, let's talk about mindset, right? We know that there's a particular mindset just in the sense of owning a business at all, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, when you think about a serial entrepreneur, that takes it to a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
Right. So, tell me the difference, in your opinion, and then you can give me your opinion, of the mindset of someone who has one business and the mindset of someone who owns multiple businesses.
Absolutely. So that's actually a great question, because mindset is really important when, even, again, as you said, starting your business. So the mindset of someone who just has one business, which is fine, right, is definitely a good thing to have one business. Sometimes I think I want to only have one business. But the mindset of someone that has one business is they stay tunnel vision. They stay real focused on the end goal of their business. And they set one goal and they accomplish it. They set another goal and they accomplish it. Totally opposite for someone who is a serial entrepreneur. We can't stay,
We is a good word.
We is a good word. Okay, good. We cannot stay tunnel vision on one thing, because we have several different moving parts within each business. So you want to be able to, okay, I know this is what I need to do for this business, but you may be doing something totally different, like how I do. Like I have different, and I'm sure we'll get into the multiple businesses that I do have. I may do something for one business, but I didn't do it for the other, because it needed a different set of skill set for me to be able to be successful in my second or third business, right? So mindset really is trying your best not to get overwhelmed as a serial entrepreneur, but making sure that you stay on task and stay focused.
Absolutely. I feel like it reminds me of being a mother. More than one kid.
Yeah.
You have to, one child may not need the same as the other. So you have to be able to manage all of them, because your business is your child.
Yeah.
Just have some feedback on the mindset of a serial entrepreneur.
Well, I do, but it's going to tie into my question.
Okay.
Because it is something that is difficult for some people, right? There's those of, I wouldn't say us, but there are people who are like, I need to focus on this one thing. This is my niche. I want to stay in my niche and just be in this lane and really carve this out. How do you balance not falling into the jack of all trade, master of none category, right? Because being a serial entrepreneur, you can get so focused on different things that it's none of this is really seen through completely.
Absolutely. So I'll give you a key to my success, right? I am not doing this all alone.
Okay.
I am not running each and every one of my businesses all by myself. I do have an admin, I do have someone who does social media management, I do all the different things, because it's impossible to get everything done the way you want it to get done if you have several things going on at the same time.
Right.
When I first started my business in 2020, I did everything myself. I was the admin, I did social media, I did the posts, I did everything, all the interviews, everything. And I burnt out. I burnt out within the last 3 months. I was surprised I even made it to 3 months.
Right.
And 3 months later, because I've had several different moving parts in the business, and we as entrepreneurs need to understand it's not just about the product that we're selling, right? There's so many different avenues around that product to get it out to the market that you alone can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're out there and you're doing a business by yourself, seek help. Because you're going to get burnout is what I'm really trying to say. But making sure in order to be successful with that business, getting that mindset right, knowing that this is not going to be easy, right? You are going to come up to some challenges. You are, and I know we'll talk about a little bit, all the different no's that I got within the last 5 years of my business would set someone behind. What an average person, and again, I never thought that someone had to have a business mindset, right? And that came to me like within 5 to 6 months of my business. Because if I had gotten all the no's that I did, been within the 3 months of my business, I wouldn't be sitting in this podcast with you today. I would have given up. I would have been like, nope, not gonna be able to do it, right? But because I have a strong business mindset, knowing the first or second or third no that I got taught me how to fix what I needed to fix, because there was a reason the person said no to me, right? I probably didn't have something in place to get that no. So it taught me, okay, get this in place and go ask again, right? So we have to be able to take those no's and grow from them. Right. Not take the no and quit. Right. And that's the type of business mindset that you definitely have, whether you're running one business or several.
Right. So we got to dive into what you do. Because I'm sitting there thinking there's going to be a bunch of things they're going to reference what you do. So let's just do that first. So tell us the different businesses that you're in currently.
Absolutely. So, of course, the name of my company is Elite Creations. And with Elite Creations, I do mostly graphic designs. That's how I started off in 2020. So I'm building websites and I'm doing logos. And then I realized every time I passed on a website or a logo to a client, they didn't know what to do with it. Like, they're like, oh, this is so great. Okay, so now you got to market it, right? Oh, I don't know how to do that. Okay, well, I do, so let me try to help you. So that's how the marketing came into play in my business. So we did graphic designs, we do marketing. And in about October of that year, of 2020, for me, I always wanted to do something, give back to the community. I've always been that person to always want to give back. And in my business, I wanted to say, okay, how can I give back to community? So then I started Phenomenal Woman. Actually, let me take a step back. My first company was called My Sister Keeper. And I say that because I had to pivot within my own business within the first year of my business, right? And most people are like, wow, you had to literally pivot. Yes, I did, right? So first my magazine line was called My Sister Keeper, and the company was called My Sister Keeper, but I boxed myself in to only female entrepreneurs, and the men were like, so you're not gonna work with us, right? And I had male clients. So I realized I was boxing myself into female entrepreneurs, because men and women need graphic designs or business consultations or whatever the case may be. So that's how Elite Creations came about, where I'm not boxed into one particular genre of entrepreneurs, right? So of course, that's how My Sister Keeper magazine came into play. Then I have Phenomenal Woman, which is an awards event that I do, and of course April was a recipient.
I'm using Cassidy.
Right? I love it. Yes, so of course April has been a recipient of the Phenomenal Woman Award. So again, thank you always for participating with me. And I also give back to the community whenever I get donations to the community. So we have Phenomenal Woman Awards.
I'm sorry. I also hosted.
Oh yes, that's not
to keep talking about myself.
An amazing host as well. I would say this not to throw us off, because I know we're going to throw us off anyway. But I literally sat back when I watched you and our good friend Stacy host Phenomenal Woman for me, because for the first 4 years I did it for myself, by myself. And I was the producer, I was the host, I did everything, right? And then I learned again, you cannot do everything by yourself, Nadia. Ask for the help. It is never degrading to ask for help, right? It's actually rewarding that you say, listen, I know I need the help, let me go get it so I can be successful.
Absolutely.
So when I sat back and I literally sat back and got to watch you guys host, and I smiled through the whole thing. I cried, obviously. Right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I literally have a wonderful, wonderful support system. And I have people who are genuinely willing to support, you know? So it was really nice to have that opportunity to watch the show and embrace the moment, because when you're the host, moments are passing by. I'm just tunnel vision on, I need to get through these next 3 hours, and that's what I'm focused on, right? But now I got to be able to hear the ladies speak and thank me for their awards, and they were very genuine about it, as always, but embracing that moment was really, really good for me, right? So of course I have my magazine line as well. And I'll pause there because there's so many other different side things that I do. But just know graphic designs and podcasting and marketing and awards with my magazine line, of course.
Nice, okay. I understand when you said cereal. She didn't mean 1 or 2.
Right.
She really meant cereal.
Yes.
One thing that I absolutely do love about you, just in general, is that you're a heart for people. You have a heart for people, and it literally is genuine. So, although we said 6 years, we didn't go 6 years talking all the time, right? It's kind of like what you know, we're the same way. Like, it's more like if we have a gap in time, we still come back like there was never a gap, right? So, we started more than one business. I just want to kind of give people what the emotional and mental space is when you have, and I will tell you, for somebody, because I have 2 ventures I'm starting right now, right? And you automatically are in your mind like, oh, this business is a success. I already got customers here. I got money coming in here. It's flowing. I've done this already more than once. But when I tell you it doesn't change the amount of effort you have to put in for the next one. So mentally, emotionally, the mindset you need to be in when it's now time to start that new business.
Absolutely. So believe it or not, I am an introverted person.
Me too.
Okay? So we all understand each other at this table right now.
Absolutely.
But we are able to go into an extroverted world and be successful as well, right? So I had to learn that my voice matters, my story matters, and my confidence matters, right? So I always teach, and again, didn't even tell you this part, but I'm doing business coaching as well. So I start my class on June the 2nd. I have 8 individuals that are starting classes with me, and I'm teaching them how to, get a strong foundation for their business and giving them their graphics that they need. And
I think you did tell me about it. I think you told me back when you were first considering it.
Yes.
And we're talking about why it makes sense.
Why it makes sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to have that class as well. But I have to be prepared for this class, right? If I'm telling you I'm getting ready to teach you, guide you, I need to be mentally ready to do that, right? I need to be mentally ready to get all these questions that come to me, right? So I have to prepare. I guess for us, and I know April as well, we need to have things in structure and order in order for us to say, okay, we're ready to do this.
Right.
Full transparency, don't have it in order. Don't have it in order. Do I have the thought of what I want the class to look like? Do I have the thought of what I want to teach? Yes. This weekend I was like, okay, Nadia, you're going to do the workbook, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, right? And I'm panicking, like, okay, June 2nd is coming. Like, what am I doing, right? And it's like, but you have Elite Creations. You have Phenomenal Woman. You did this. You did that. Yes. However, when you start that new venture, it's a new platform that you're starting, you get scared. Scared of failure. Scared of, what if I don't teach you people the things that I want to really teach them? And fear sets in, right? Every time I start something, fear sets in. I'll be totally transparent. And it's like, okay, we know we've done this before. Let's make sure that we have everything in order, right? Who do you need to support you at this point? Because I realized, like I said before, I need the help, right? I need to make sure that So for me, I reached out to people who are doing classes, and I'm like, okay, how do you structure a curriculum? How do you do X, Y, and Z? Because I need to be able to do it. I'm not just going to say, I'm going to do it Nadia's way, right? I need to make sure it's structured correctly, right? So again, yes, fear sets in. However, I always think back of how I was fearful to start my Sister Keeper, or how I was fearful to start Elite Creations. And because I looked past that fear, I have successful businesses as well. So I'm teaching myself how to look past the fear of starting my business coaching classes. And by June the 2nd, I'm going to call you and I'm going to be like, girl, I got the book, I got this, I got that.
I know you will.
Because I will put it all together. It's just a transition from start to get started to when you really, really get into the business. In that gap and in those moments, that's when fear sets in. But we have to be able to look past that fear.
Absolutely. And you touched on it briefly with My Sister's Keeper when you said you had to pivot from just all females, you had to box yourself in, to including men. How do you know when it's time to pivot or just keep pushing through and make it a success no matter what?
That is an amazing question. I love that question. Pivoting in a business and knowing when to pivot. So for me, when I started in February of 2020, the year before, man, I crossed T's, dotted I's, everything. I had work orders, SOPs. I had literally everything for My Sister Keeper.
Right.
You couldn't tell me, and I was actually going to be a PR person. That's what I wanted My Sister Keeper to do, and I was going to go out to businesses, and I was going to say, hey, meet April, and this is what she does, and you need to work with her. And then February 2020 came, and they said, you cannot go outside. I said, wait, we can't do what now?
Right.
It's like, you can't go outside, you have to stay home, you're in a mask, And I'm like, how do you do PR and you don't go talk to people, right? Like, pivot in your business, okay? So am I saying to wait till, like, doomsday come before you decide to pivot? But there's, like, I always say, there's writing on the walls that tell you it's time to pivot within the business, because what I'm doing right now is not working at 100% for me. What can I implement in my business to, I always use the word pivot, just to, and for me, pivoting is moving away from, so to speak, but it's just a transition from where you started to where you need to go, and for me, that's called growth.
Absolutely.
You know, it's called growth. That's it. It's not that you failed in the first business and now you gotta go restructure and do things. But for me, in 2020, in February, when they were like, you can't go outside, I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna go online.
That's right.
Right? So we went inside and I sat by the computer and I was like, okay, how can you market someone's business online? And you know, at that time, between February and March and April of 2020, everybody wanted to start a business because they realized they're not going to work, right? And they're like, oh, I can sew, I can make candles, I can do this. They found a skill set.
They had to.
They had to, right? And it's, a lot of people lost their jobs and stuff like that. So then it was like, they needed to start a business, right? And it was like, I filled that need. I know how to make a website. I know how to, you know, do your logo and your branding. You know, bulb, I'm going to say bulb, go off on your head, but the light. It's like, this is a problem that you can solve, Nadia. You don't have to walk into a business. You can go online. So I made a directory on my website, and I put business owners on my directory, and we just network with each other online instead of going into businesses and talking about it.
It's crazy enough, my business didn't suffer during COVID. It got better.
Mine did too, right?
It gave you had to be open to exploring other ways.
Absolutely.
And doing things different, which is part of that pivot, but also the growth that now that COVID's over, right? I don't want to say over, but to the extent that it was, I still benefit off of those same practices now that we're not in that space. So sometimes you have to find your own pivot. Like it may not necessarily be a pandemic. You know, you may find a pivot based on, you know, things not just going a certain way, or you learning that, hey, like I thought I liked that, I don't. I do not. I always tell people know what you do, because if you don't know what you do, somebody will tell you what you do. And then you'll figure out you don't like doing that. So yeah, that is important, and I love the fact that you said that pivot is growth, because it is. That's all a pivot is growth. Even in the sense of like the part where you said, and I think I'm going back in the conversation, the fear of starting something new. I don't think it's even just starting something new. I think it's even each new client sometimes. It can be fearful. Because especially when you're in a certain type of space, so I'll say for me as a consultant, I know that I can figure out anything. And I'll tell people, I can just tell me. I may not know the answer right now, but I'll figure it out. But it's still the initial like, all right, I got to make sure that they know that have the same kind of confidence that I have in my ability to, serve them. So,
absolutely.
All right. So tell me, since you have had multiple businesses, something that you learned that helped kind of like, whether it was like push you into your next business or something that you learned that was like, okay, I'm not going to do that this time.
2 years ago, I received an email from Dr. Desiree. She is out in England, right, Canada, and it says, "Congratulations, you have won the Woman of Heart Awards, and we would love for you to come and pick up your award." I'm sorry, you want me to travel to where? Says the person, backstory, if I stay on a flight more than 3 hours, that's it, it's a wrap. Right? Like, I cannot fly more than 3 hours. So, funny story, went into my mom and was like, "Mom, I think we may have to go to London." She was like, "London? What is in London?" So, I told her about the awards and stuff like that. And she was like, "Nadia, let's think about this." She too is fear of flying, and again, I'm trying to hone in on that fearish moment. And I went back and I was like, I was literally getting ready to reply to the email, and no, I did. I replied and I said, "Hey, thank you for the recognition. Would you be having a virtual option as well that I can just come up and say thank you, and then you can mail me my award, and that will eliminate me having to get on a flight in my head, right?" She's like, "No, it's in person, and you have to come." So I literally was getting ready to reply and say, "Well, unfortunately, thank you, but I don't want to travel that far." And then something in me just said, face that fear. Just face it. You never know what can happen. So I said thank you, and I did say yes, I would go. So fast forward to flying there. When we landed, it was about a 12-hour flight, I want to say. Yes, that's what I was saying. It's a good 12-hour flight, and when we landed in Heathrow Airport, the journey there was a long conversation with God. I'm going to be real transparent. Like, Lord, you know your child may panic. Please keep me calm. That's all I kept saying, right? But of course, you fall asleep, you wake up, stuff like that. So we landed in Heathrow, and I was like, "You did that. Like, you literally faced the fear and got to Heathrow, right?" Got to the award celebration, got my award, and then she was like, "Oh, we want you to be our keynote speaker." I'm sorry, what do we do what now? Like, I did not prepare nothing. It's like, "No, we love you, and da-da-da-da, you need to have a thing." So I guess for me, my presence of doing a presentation or speaking captures an audience, right? So she's like, "No, we love when you talk that day, so can you talk on Saturday?" Okay, no problem. Went home, researched what I want to talk about or whatever. Went on stage, did my speech. Do you realize when I went on that stage and I did my speech, I became an international speaker.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Right? And when I stepped off of that stage, now I added international speaker to my title. Right? So, moral of the story is, again, facing your fear. You never know what's on the other side of it. Right? So when I do my bio and things of that nature, and people are reading my bio and they have to introduce me, I'm like, "Dang, girl, you did that." Right? That's you. That's what you're talking about. But it's because I was able to, again, learn how to face fear. So sometimes, even when I started this coaching thing, I know I'm fearful, but I'm also optimistic. I started off with fear all the time because of failure, and we always just think of failure, right? But for me, of course, again, failure, you learn and you grow, right? So, just to say that you just have to be able to go on the opposite side of fear.
So, I have the unfair advantage of knowing a little bit more about that story.
Oh, Lord.
So I want you guys to dig into the brain of a serial entrepreneur. Nadia, tell us how you almost missed that trip.
let's.
She's getting the real behind the
Yes,
scenes.
she is. Yes, you are. So, that said, we had to leave Friday. Thursday, I am still in my office and I'm putting things together because I'm thinking, okay, in my head, it's Wednesday. Listen to me clearly. In my head, it's Wednesday. It's really Thursday, and my flight is Friday. So I'm there, and I'm putting things together because to me, I wanted everything to be in order before I leave. Again, serial entrepreneur, I needed to make sure that my social media management clients are together, my people who do my podcast are together, like I've scheduled things out. And my mom keeps coming in and out of the room looking at me like, so are you going to get up and dress or... And I'm like, why does she keep walking in and out of this room? But anyway, I keep doing what I do, and then finally my son comes in the room and was like, Mom, actually, let me take that back. It was the Friday that I was supposed to be traveling, that I'm still sitting there doing work. And he's like, Mom, you know our flight is in like 2 hours. Our flight to where? Our flight to where? Mom, we're leaving for London in like 2 hours. You haven't put anything in the suitcase. You haven't packed. You haven't done anything. And he already knows, like, I will pack. And because for me, I would panic real quick. And I'm like, no, for real? We're leaving in 2 hours? And my mom is like, yes, I want to understand why are you still sitting here?
Oh my God.
Serial entrepreneur brain. It's like you're trying to get every single thing done, but you miss some things as well. Right? So you're going to miss things.
You missed 2
You're
days.
going to miss. Don't ask me where 2 days went. Don't ask me. Girl, I was in there. I do some things in the...
Right.
Well, I'm about to buy something when I get there. I don't know what I'm packing right now. You know, but... We got to the airport, you know, luckily on time to take that flight.
Yeah.
That was,
You
one
cut
of
it
that
close.
backstory. I did cut it close.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you do differently now before you launch a business versus what you did before?
What I do differently now is making sure I have the right people in the right places. So that when I say, so for example, my social media person is Grayson, right? Is Grayson in place so that when I need him to send out information about these 8 people and he has to make the graphics and stuff for them, does he have that done, right? Is Naila in place, right? Naila, you have to be sending out these emails. So we have to do newsletters and stuff like that. These are the topics of the newsletters, and I know I'm scheduling things out 2-3 months ahead. I'm just want to make sure that I'm ahead every single time, because sometimes life lives, right? And if I'm not 2-3 months ahead of something and I ran out of posts or I ran out of anything, I will panic. Transparent moment. I'll be like, oh my gosh, why is all these things backing up on me, right? So what I do differently now is just making sure that I have the right people in the places that they need to be in. And again, if you are, again, listening to us on the podcast, if you are not having that right person in place, the admin or whatever the case, because you just started your business, you're like, I can't afford to pay anybody right now. Take it one step at a time, right? Yes, you have your business plan all mapped out, everything that you need for your business. However, take that one goal at a time. Because if you're like, okay, I gotta do this, and your to-do list is really long, you're gonna feel overwhelmed. I have a rule that I have a notebook at my desk that's my to-do list. So anything pops in my brain, I write it down. Don't go based on what your brain says. And you go, oh yeah, I'm gonna remember. No, you're not. You're not. I'm gonna tell you, you're not. So every time I think of something, I write it down. But I literally have a running to-do list. But then on another page, I have the top 5 things that I'm going to get done today, and that's it. Right? Now my to-do list has about 50 things on there. I'm going to prioritize them by the first 5 things that need to be done each and every day. I don't go past 5 things. I'm sorry if it needed to get done today. If I'm at 5, it's a wrap, right? Because I have to stick to not getting myself overwhelmed, not feeling exhausted at the end of the day. Because trust me, the first 2-3 years, I was up at 6 and I went to bed at 1.
Oh wow!
You know, because again, doing the same thing for myself and wanted to make sure everything was in place, and I didn't have the support, and I was just burning myself out. Right, so setting goals, but setting realistic goals. and not only realistic, but just the minimum to get through the day. So, because sometimes when I go to bed, I'm like, oh, you've accomplished those 5 things, and I feel good.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that I had 10 things on the list and I partially did something for the 10 things, but nothing got completed to the end.
Right.
So for me, if I'm at least completed 5 things, even though 10 things you need to get done, I feel good and I lay down. Because I know tomorrow I can take care of the other 5.
Yeah.
Right?
So I would say, that's probably something I need to practice. I am the notebook, write it all down. Because if I get it out my brain, then at least I got it. But then you look at the notebook, it's like, oh my gosh.
How are we doing this today?
So I've got to get in the habit of saying, these are my however many things that I'm going to finish. And I know me, I'm going to do more than those. But if at least I got these accomplished, I'm good. Because that list does look over me. And mine is literally, I have 1 notebook per client. And I have them all stacked into, I think, 3 different binders, some of the big binders. And I will look at times where I sat and I wrote everything for this customer, everything for this client, everything for this client, and I'm looking like, how did I do that? Right. So, no, I understand that and why that would be very beneficial.
Yes.
Because even accomplishing stuff or doing something in something, it doesn't always feel fulfilling with knowing that, oh, but I still gotta do this in it tomorrow. So having those pieces that you accomplished, listen, I'm gonna tell you next week if I did good.
I'm gonna check in on you.
Right. So I'm not gonna go through the managing multiple businesses. We've already kind of talked about that piece. Let's talk about money, right? So that is something that I know a lot of people have questions about, and I'm gonna go a little bit deviated from the question. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna be spontaneous. I am going to first ask a question. You know, a lot of people say when you have multiple businesses that if you have multiple businesses in different spaces, it's hard to maintain them. So let's talk about whether it's important or whether it's not important to keep all your businesses kind of like related in a sense.
Good question. Really good question. So it's funny because I deal with different clients who, so for example, I have someone who is a therapist, but then she is an author and a speaker as well. So my job or my goal is to look at your businesses and see how we can blend them together, right? So for example, the therapist that I have, I'm like, okay, so you want to be an author, great. You want to be a speaker, great. And then, of course, you're a therapist, you have your own office, you practice, you do consultations. You are going to now start writing therapy-related books. You are going to start speaking on the different types of things that we could do at home. If I can't come to my therapist, what can I do at home, right? So that's the things that you can go speak about. So my goal is to really look at your business and say, how can we blend them together? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. So I have someone who is, let's say, a mechanic, right? And he's like, yeah, but I want to be a truck driver as well. I'm like, well, okay, well, that's 2 different ones. One you're driving on the road and one you're fixing. So now we have to separate these businesses. And then we talk about, we're going to separate them, yes, but how do we market them where people know that you're doing both things, right? So that's how we're able to like kind of blend the marketing together. So yes, it's okay to have different, but don't go, I want to be the dentist today, the mechanic tomorrow, the doctor in 2 weeks. And it takes time to build. So normally I tell my clients, we're going to build the first business, well-oiled machine is making income, and all it has to be done is maintained. That's it. Once that happens, we're going to jump into something else. I am not that coach. If you're looking for a coach to tell you, oh yeah, let's do this, that's not me, because I'm going to get overwhelmed with you.
Right. I'll be ready.
And we go right.
I'm done. I'm
like, no, it's a wrap. Don't even do nothing, right? So I am that coach that's going to say, okay, this is the business that we're working on now. Let's focus on it. Let's get it as a well-oiled machine. It's making income. It's generating things. And you have what I call a project manager over that business. That's just overseeing, making sure that emails are going out and they're being answered. Your social media pages are up to date, because you don't want to post today and then 10 months later you're posting
Right.
something else. Because when people look you up as a business, the very first thing they go into is A, your website, B, your social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So you got to make sure those things are current and active,
Yes.
right? So if you started the business and these things are current and active, just have one person that just makes sure that that thing is moving, right?
And consistent.
And
yeah.
consistent, exactly. And now we can talk about, okay, so now you want to be a writer. Let's talk about what it is to be a writer or a publisher, right? But you're not worried about like your speaking engagements and stuff being hindered because now you want to write books, right? So it's a process to jump from one business to another. There is a process. You can't just wake up with an epiphany that morning and like, oh, I want to be a florist, and you were already a speaker. And it's like, no, that does not work. You will fail. You will fail and burn out. So.
And a lot of the reasons you're going to fail is because of your burnout. Like burnout, you don't have enough time to be 5 different people. So because you don't have time to be 5 different people, you can't hold 5 different roles. Now, as a serial entrepreneur, I will say I have had a fitness company at the same time as having my consulting company, at the same time as having a retail shop, at the same time as having a podcast, at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's where that piece of if you can blend it together is important, right? Like when you think, and I'm gonna go a little bit outside the box, and when you think of how you blend it together, how do you blend fitness with consulting?
Yeah.
It's mindfulness. I want to work on my whole self. That's my mental mindset in business. That's my physical mindset in my body. You find a way to blend them, right? Even if it's like my company was called Cultivate Health. Even if it's Cultivate Health powered by A-Rich Innovations, right? Like you find a way to blend it. Now some things, as you said, they're not blendable.
Yeah.
So that's where that having a team is so important because you need to know what your tasks are in that company, and anything that's not your task means somebody else needs to be handling it. Otherwise, that business is running at the lowest capacity as possible, and that's what you don't want. So that's extremely important.
Exactly. Absolutely.
All right. So now I'm gonna talk about finance. So let's talk about the money, right? Money. The onions. Right. So we know it costs money to run a business. Now there are a lot of businesses you can start with no money, right? But you're gonna replace that money with time. I'm gonna say that. Like don't think you're starting. Right, exactly. So for anyone who is self-funding a business, how would you say to approach?
Great question. So when I started my business in 2020, again, wanted to be the PR person, but then I became the graphic designer, right? Because these people need websites and stuff like that. And I remember building a website for one person. I said, oh, Nadia. Because again, mind you, I did not go to school for graphic design. I didn't have no one teach me, coach me, anything, right? I just picked up a website building platform, sat one day and was like, oh, by the end of the night, there was a website that was done. And I was like, oh, you can do this. This is good. This is money making or whatever. But how do I get me, Nadia, the graphic designer, out to the public, right? And again, no funding, right, out of my own pockets, because at that time, I didn't even have an LLC. I was just building a website to build a website, right? So I got some business owners that I knew that wanted websites and stuff. And I said, I want to build my portfolio. Can I build a website for you and market your business for you for the next 3 months? And they were like, you're not going to try? No, I'm building my portfolio, right? So sometimes bartering services because you don't have that money right away to start your business can help your business. So I built about 5 or 6 websites, and I marketed them websites like they were hot bread, and I was like, I can do this, and started to bring in business on my own. So I did sacrifice some of my time, right? Because we talked about you may have to sacrifice some of your time, you may not get paid for it, but at the interim, now I'm getting word of mouth clients, and now I'm starting to get some income that comes in. So a lot of people want to scale their business as soon as they start day one. No, we can't scale on day one, right? So you're like, okay, if I get 5 clients and they pay me $1,000 each, and I get $5,000 in, how can I take this $5,000 and invest it into my business? A lot of my clients take that $5,000, say, oh, I made $5,000, let's go shopping.
Right.
No, ma'am, no, sir. That 5,000 is to be invested back into your business. Now, what else does your business need? Maybe you need an admin, right? This could pay for somebody, right, for at least 2-3 months as you're starting to make additional income. So we have to get into the mindset or money mindset, as we say, of my business income, money that comes in, is to operate my business.
Right.
Now, yes, you can pay yourself from the business, and we talk about how you can pay yourself and things of that nature, but 100% does not go back into your pocket so you can just go shop. Right? That's not the goal of the business. You will fail. At the end, you're going to run out of money. Right? Yeah. So learning how to invest back into your business. What does your business need when this money comes in? And for me, I always think about when the money comes in, what does my business need next?
Right.
So it means for me to be able to scale from one thing to another. Right? So always looking for, again, bartering services with someone. And again, you're not going to barter all day, every day, right? However, if that's how you need to get started, then do that, right? Get some clients that you're like, I'm willing to work for free right now because I'm building my portfolio. And I was very transparent. It's my new business that I'm starting, but I'm willing to do this and this for you and market your business. It's a win-win. I get the portfolio built, you get your business marketed, everybody wins at the same time. Right. So that's the goal of bartering. Everyone wins at the same time. Right. And that's how I ended up starting my business actually in 2020. Just bartering about 6 people, built their stuff, and they're like, oh, you did a good job. I know Susie who needs a website, and I know John, and I know. Please send them my way.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's how we got. But again, I had to learn business as well, because as these clients are coming in, did I have a process in place? Right? I'm like, oh wait, okay, so I have 10 websites to build this weekend? Okay, pause. So that's what taught me about, okay, the money that I made from these people, I implemented processes. And when I say that, it's like, there are platforms that I have to pay for on a monthly basis. I know you know about paying platforms. Right, but it's needed in my business, whether it's Canva, Jotform, Wix, or whatever it is that I have to pay monthly. I know where the money's coming in from because now I have the clients to pay for it, but I didn't scale to all of that until I was ready to. And I implemented Jotform first, then Canva, then Wix, and then we just start implementing different things as we go along.
So we're at 45 minutes. And I knew we were going to go over. I knew it. Like I'm just going to stop saying this show is like
it's an hour.
minutes. It might as well be, right? So I feel like we're going to have a part 2 at some point, right? Not just on the serial entrepreneur piece, but I feel like she has a lot of information that she can give that will help you. For those people who are starting, those people who are already in the midst of it and not really knowing where to go. We have an event at this Connect Her space after this, so I'm kind of excited about going to do that, but I kind of want to send my team over to go get it set up so we can finish the conversation. So, all right, so what I would like to do is I would like you to tell everyone what is it that you have coming up, what do you have going on, where can they find you?
No worries, so we just wrapped up, of course, Phenomenal Woman in January, so magazines and things of that nature is going out. Come July, we're going to start doing the recruiting of the next set of Phenomenal Woman, because guess what I learned? You can't recruit in December for January, right? Learning is important, right? So we're like, oh, you need a good 4 months to put things together. So we start in July to recruit for Phenomenal Woman. And if you don't know, again, what that is, it's just, of course, my give back program within Elite Creations. You partner with me, I make donations to nonprofits, just to summarize that. Of course, we do have my business coaching classes that start on June the 2nd. Unfortunately, class is full. It is 8 people, and I know I wanted to pour as much as I can into them. But after June the 2nd, in 6 months, will be the next class. And guess what? I'm going to be real prepared for that second class, right? Because I'm going to know what the notebook looks like. I'm going to know what everything is. So we have classes that are starting on that time. And then, of course, as usual, I'm always here to help with branding, marketing of your business. If you need any type of website. Of course, my website is elitecreations.biz, B-I-Z. And you can feel free to, of course, schedule some time with me. And it's more than just building a website with me. You kind of get a lot of business coaching when you start working with me, and you're like, okay, now just how much do I pay you to talk to me?
Right.
How can I just dump all my stuff on you, and then you just put everything nice in order for me? So those are some things that I do offer as well, 3D creations.
Awesome. So she actually does do some work with my company as well. It's a lovely part of having great partnerships. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you so much, Miss Nadia.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited about everything you have going on. Anything you want me involved in, I'm there.
Yes.
We actually have a couple of award show possibilities coming up towards the end of the year too. Anyway, so with that being said, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you all. Thank you. I love you. And we will see you next time on Sessions with Coach April.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.